Novak Djokovic is set to be detained by Australian immigration officials again today after the Australian government postponed his deportation so he may continue his campaign to stay in the nation and defend his Australian Open title next week. Djokovic's last-ditch quest to avoid deportation was dealt a significant setback Friday, when his case was referred to the federal court after his visa was revoked for the second time today. Judge Anthony Kelly, who overturned the previous visa cancellation on Monday, said the challenge to the player's visa being cancelled again will have to be heard by a new court and judge. Meanwhile, Djokovic will be imprisoned starting at 8 a.m. Saturday, except for online court hearings at his attorney's offices, where border force personnel will be stationed, according to government lawyer Stephen Lloyd. Djokovic's visa was cancelled by immigration officials on the grounds that he is unvaccinated against COVID-19 and thus poses a risk to the community, putting an end to his ambitions of winning his 21st Grand Slam next week. However, Djokovic's lawyers fought back in court on Friday night, claiming that Immigration Minister Alex Hawke had revoked Djokovic's visa because his presence in the country could incite anti-vaccination sentiment, not because he was unvaccinated. Hawke's motives for his decision have yet to be revealed. Djokovic's lawyer Nicholas Wood told the Federal Circuit and Family Court of Australia that the minister's decision was patently irrational, and that they wanted the challenge to the player's visa revocation heard on Sunday so that he could play in the Australian Open on Monday if the challenge was successful. The top half of the men's and women's tournaments will be played on day one of the Australian Open, which means Djokovic must be ready to play on Monday. Government lawyers stated that Mr. Hawke was not trying to hold the tennis player overnight, but that he would be detained at the Department of Home Affairs and would be hauled back into jail on Saturday night after spending time with his attorneys preparing his case. Djokovic, the incumbent Australian Open winner, was seeded first in the event on Thursday and was set to play fellow Serb Mimir Kekmanovic in his first round on Monday or Tuesday. The 34-year visa-old's revocation could mean he won't be able to get a new Australian visa for 3 years, unless there are compelling circumstances that influence Australia's interests, thereby shutting him out of any future Australian Opens during that time. On Friday evening, a video showed a car believed to be carrying the player arriving at his lawyer's office before the hearing was announced. Mr. Wood sought an injunction against the Serbian's deportation and argued that he should be allowed to remain out of immigration detention while the issue is being resolved. Wood told the extraordinary hearing, "We are really anxious about time." The government informed Djokovic's lawyers that he would not be detained tonight. The saga has sparked a global debate over vaccination choice, raised doubts about Australia's botched handling of Djokovic's visa, and turned into a thorny subject for Prime Minister Scott Morrison as he bids for re-election. Morrison announced on Friday that his government has revoked Novak Djokovic's visa in order to safeguard Australia's hard-won successes against the COVID-19 pandemic. After a judge invalidated a previous revocation and released Djokovic from immigration detention on Monday, Immigration Minister Alex Hawke invoked discretionary powers to cancel Djokovic's visa once more. Mr. Hawke's decision comes just 3 days before the Australian Open, where Djokovic was hoping to become the all-time most successful male player. It will almost certainly lead to another round of court action by the 34-year-old Serb, who has previously won the Open 9 times, and further destabilize the Grand Slam competition. Legal experts, on the other hand, believe it would be difficult, if not impossible, for Djokovic to successfully appeal a visa revocation decision made by the immigration minister directly. Djokovic may be kept in prison in Melbourne, while the Open continues without him, creating a nightmarish scenario for Tennis Australia. Protests are expected, and the federal government can expect international retaliation for its decision, particularly from Serbia. The Age newspaper in Melbourne reported earlier on Friday that the government was strongly leaning toward revoking the visa again, citing a source in Prime Minister Scott Morrison's Liberal Party. While Morrison's government has garnered domestic support for its strict posture on border security during the pandemic, it has not been immune to criticism for the failed Djokovic visa process. When the tennis player, a vaccine skeptic, declared last week that he would be travelling to Melbourne for the Australian Open with a medical exemption from the need that visitors be immunised against COVID-19, he sparked great outrage in Australia. In the previous 2 weeks, Australia has experienced some of the world's longest lockdowns, has a 90% adult vaccination rate, and has seen a runaway Omicron outbreak bring nearly 1 million cases. Djokovic was under fire for his behaviour, which included criticism from fellow tennis players who will compete in the Australian Open next week. Stefanos Tsitsipas, the Greek world number 4, said Djokovic was playing by his own rules and making vaccinated players look like fools. In an interview with India's YN News station, Tsitsipas said, "No one really thought they could come to Australia unvaccinated and not have to follow the protocols. It takes a lot of daring to do and putting the Grand Slam at risk, which I don't think many players would do." According to an online poll conducted by the News Corp media organization, 83% of people support the government's attempt to deport the tennis star. He should definitely leave. Venus Virgin Thomas, 45, a Melbourne resident, stated, "He hasn't done the right thing, and is being a little cheeky about it. To tell you the truth, it's a political issue. But, if what the media is reporting is accurate, that he didn't arrive with the proper documentation, he should be treated equally to everyone else," said Jacob Coluccio, 25, a Melbourne resident. "It should never have come to this," said Anthony Albanese, the head of the opposition Labour Party. "They've never explained how that visa was given in the first place if he wasn't qualified because he wasn't completely vaccinated." Andy Murray, a former world number 1 tennis player, said of the revelation, "It's unfortunate that it's ended up in this sort of situation, and who knows. I'm not sure what path he takes, if he can appeal, and how long it takes, and can he still be out training or competing in the tournament while that process is going on. All I want is for it to be settled. If that were the case, I believe it would be beneficial to everyone. It just seems like it's been going on for a long time, and it's not good for tennis, not good for the Australian Open, not good for Novak."